This is Ronnie, and it's night, coming at you with a video. I'm going to do a small series of overviews, not reviews so much as overviews and first impressions of some of the systems I bought post-Christmas. And the first one I want to discuss is this one, Dragon Age, by Green Ronin. I've said on a couple of other videos, and I stand by what I'm about to say, that I think it's the best beginner's game I've seen ever. Certainly in the last few years, certainly since the original Dungeons & Dragons basic set. It comes as a box set. I have sets 1 and 2, this is set 1 here. It comes as a box set, which is very old-fashioned, and thank goodness for it. And it's nice to see. Inside you get a lovely map, which I'm not going to bring out. You get 3d6, 2 of one colour and 1 of another. I will explain about those in a moment. And you get 2 books. You get a player's guide, and you get a games master's guide. As I've said in other videos, I actually like the way this has been done. I think it's the way role-playing games, if you're not going to release a single core rulebook with absolutely everything you need for play, or at least absolutely everything you need to start play, then this is the way to go, to do it sequentially, incrementally, call it what you will. This first set deals with characters levels 1 to 5, set 2 deals with 6 to 10, and set 3, when it finally arrives, will deal with the final set of characters from 11 to 20. The game is very good. It sets out its stall very simply. It's very much designed with beginners in mind. Character creation is very simple. You roll your ability scores, and this one uses the very much the system that Green Ronin started with True 20, which is, rather than list your ability scores that you roll 3d6. You merely add the you merely take the bonus as your score. So if you roll a 15, you have a score of 3. You have 8 abilities. Those abilities are communication, constitution, cunning, dexterity, magic, perception, strength, and willpower. You then pick your background, which are the various races and so on. Those backgrounds will determine any sort of starting focuses. I'll explain focuses in a second. They may allow certain ability scores to be increased. There is a luck table that you roll on, usually twice. And this can also provide you with extra focuses, or they can also increase stats, or provide you with nice little bits of equipment. Focuses are specialities within your abilities. For example, your perception might allow you a good bit on hunting. Your communication might allow you to use debate. Your athletic ability might allow you to swim. These are focuses, and they basically allow you to add 2 points to your roll when doing that particular test. So once you've picked your background, selected your focuses, you pick your class. Now the backgrounds determine which classes you can take and which you can't. Unless you actually have a background in magic, you can't actually take mage. And usually it only allows you to be a warrior or a rogue, which is the other two classes. It slightly pigeonholes in the fact that dwarves can never be magic users, are certainly not at the moment. Maybe set 3 will change that. Um, but it's very much targeting as a simple game, so I'm sort of accepting of that. You have starting skills and bonuses when you start at level 1. You pick any weapon groups that you want to have. Weapon groups are those weapon styles that you're trained in, weapon types you're trained in. If you want to use a weapon which is outside of the weapon groups you have, you do so at a -2. Very simple system. You get starting equipment, including starting gold. You can then buy more equipment, and you're ready to go. It's very simple, it takes about a half hour, 45 minutes. Most of that, it has to be said, is deciding your background and shopping, which always takes an age. The system itself is very, very simple. You roll 3d6, you add the appropriate stat, a focus if it's applicable to that roll, and you're trying to equal or exceed a target number. One of the interesting things about the skills, particularly with regards to combat, is when you roll for a heavy blade, you roll strength, and you roll strength for your hit roll, and you roll strength for your damage. This makes sense. If it's a light blade, you roll dexterity to hit, and then strength for damage. Different, but I kind of like it. Missile weapons, you use dexterity for your hit roll and perception for your damage. Now I like this. I like the idea that the reason you do a little extra damage is because you've aimed that shot because of your great perception. You've aimed that shot a little more cleanly. I like that. I think that's a good system. It's one I'm impressed with. Combat's very fast. It's very reminiscent of old school D&D, so I felt right at home with it. Magic doesn't happen instantaneously. Magic is a skill. All spells have a degree of difficulty. It's a number. You roll 3d6, you add your magic score and any applicable focus, and again you're trying to equal or exceed that number. I like that system. It works. It works very well for me. Are there problems with the system? There are a couple. And they're niggles rather than huge problems. One of them I've mentioned already is the fact that there's a certain amount of pigeonholing that's going on with regards to the backgrounds and the classes that the backgrounds allow you to take. I would like to have seen maybe a system where you chose maybe a race and then a background within that race and then character classes within that. Because at the moment it doesn't look like dwarves can use magic at all. You know, that's a bit of stereotyping that I'd like to see gotten rid of, but maybe set 3 fixes that. There is no table of contents. There's a very good index in these books, but there are no table of contents. Front page table of contents. It would have been nice to have a table of contents, I must admit. I think a table of contents would have been very good. It's not impossible, and if one were of a wish, you could easily create a little table of contents, print it out, and just stick it in the book. But it's strangely missing. That's something for a second edition print, I think. The third one is there's a lot of piecemeal info going on. Um, the background for Thedas and the land of Ferelden for set 1 is very, very sparse indeed. Now, I fully appreciate that to do a full uh, history of Thedas as a world and even Ferelden would probably take a book in itself, and that's fine. And I understand that they just wanted to give you enough information to get going. That's fair enough, and there is more information in set 2, and from what I understand there's a lot more information in set 3, but it feels incomplete when you're using set 1. It's not impossible to get round if you're on the internet, because you can always look up Wikipedia and Dragon Age video game um, websites and so on, and get lots of information about the worlds and the peoples within them. So it's not completely a problem, but it is unfortunate that there's a lack of information in the book. But as I say, these are small niggles rather than complaints. The other thing, just mentioning about combat system, I completely forgot about this. To go back to the dice. This is the dragon die, this one here. The game requires you to have 2 die of one colour and one of a different one, the different colour being the dragon die. When you roll your 3d6 for any skill check, particularly combat and magic, but other ones as well, if you roll a double amongst any of those 3 die, then you get to do an extra little thing called stunt. And there's a list of stunts for combats and magic, and there are extra little flurries that you can do, like a mighty blow which does extra damage, or you can push people back, or hit 2 targets at once, and they all have a certain amount of points. When you roll, to take that example, if I were to roll and it was a successful roll, and I have rolled 2 5s and a 1, I would have 1 stunt point, because that is a number on the dragon die. To use another example, because it happens to be here, if I were to roll, and I'm looking for a target number, and I roll 2 2s and a 6, I've rolled a double. And if that's been a successful roll, I would have 6 stunt points to spend on all these different stunts, and you can double up and mess about with them as long as you've got the stunt points to do it. I like this system. It allows for a bit of fun. Overall, my first impressions of Dragon Age, I really like it. I'm putting together my first game for it, and I think my players are going to like it. I'm doing a one-on-one game for a guy who hasn't been playing for a long time, but he plays the computer game, and he's very interested in playing Dragon Age, the role-playing game. I think it's a great game for beginners. It's one that if I were to put on a game for a brand new set of players, I would have no hesitation in breaking out for them. I highly recommend it. Obviously, once I've had my first session and I went through the system, I'll do another video and give my thoughts after I've played it. But at the moment, I'm very excited by it, and I'm looking forward to using it.